Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Adam from Miller's Custom Guitars and the N+1 podcast. If you are a weekly listener, you may have noticed that there was not an episode last week. And that is because I have an announcement, and that is that starting with this episode, this show is going to be going to a every other week release schedule. I was able to keep up with a weekly release schedule for about 4 months, and I have found that with my work schedule and life schedule and everything else, it's just not going to be able to be sustainable for the present, for the foreseeable future. It's just been really hard to find guests and really hard on my family to hog the computer so much. So we're just going to go to an every other week release schedule. It'll be every other Thursday from now on, unless something changes. But just keep an eye out for that. So this week we've got a really great guest, Meredith Coloma, and in a couple weeks we'll talk to my good friend Joe Scaff, and so you should be looking for that. Without any further ado, Meredith Coloma. Here we go.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Adam from Miller's Custom Guitars and the N+1 podcast. And on this podcast, we always talk about our hobbies, our passions, and our obsessions. The name of the podcast, it comes from musicians. As a guitar player, we always talk about how many guitars is enough guitars. And the running joke is N+1. The number of guitars that we currently have, well, we need one more. And, today's guest, she is fueling that passion. There's a thing that we have, us guitar players, we have a thing called GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. And I got to say, Meredith, you give a lot of musicians gas. I'm joined today by, I would say this might be my first big guest. My first this is one of the guests I've wanted to have for so long. We've had some scheduling conflicts, but this is what I guess that in November and I was just getting off my feet, and I was basically talking to friends and people I've known through my own network, and I was just like, well, why don't I talk to like a real person and just out of the blue ask them if they'll be on my podcast, and maybe they'll say yes. And Meredith Coloma from Coloma Guitars said yes, and we've had some scheduling conflicts, and so here we are. It's February, but thank you so much for coming on. This is Meredith Coloma. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Thunderous applause, everyone. Thunderous applause. So we talk about everything on this podcast. We talk about sports. We talk about photography. We talk about acting. Everything. It's it's a podcast, hobbies, passions, obsession. But I'm a musician, and I'm also a hobbyist, amateur luthier. I'm a guitar tech in our area. I don't even know how I stumbled upon your TikTok, but that's how I found you. And I love your TikToks. And I've learned things about working on guitars from your TikToks, which is, I think, amazing. You're not just pushing your brands and your guitars, which are amazing, but you're also sharing your knowledge. And, I feel like you're kind of flex humble bragging sometimes. I'm like, you do a whole refret in a half hour. I'm like, how in the world is that even possible? Oh my gosh, I've only done a couple, but holy smokes. But if you guys want to see guitars that are also like art, if you want to see why guitar players want more guitars, go check out Coloma Guitars, and we'll have you do plugs at the end, and we'll put links in the description. Is it colomaguitars.com or what is it?
Yeah, it's colomaguitars.com.
Okay, go check out some of her guitars. Check out the gallery, and she just makes some of the classiest baller, just amazing guitars. A little bit of tasteful relicking, and the natural wood guitars you choose amazing, beautiful woods. You have some flames on the neck. It's like everything that all of your choices you make, at least for me, are checking all the boxes. Have the P9. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I love it. So
it's a vibe.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you. I have scripted questions, and we can feel free to, go on, rabbit holes or whatever. But I wanted to ask you. You're a proper luthier. You're a guitar builder. How did you get into this whole thing? Actually, I want to back up. I want to say I like to break this question into two phases, which is, first of all, what even is this whole thing of like guitar building, luthiery? Like, the question I like to ask people is like, explain it like you would to like a 5-year-old, and you kind of go up from there. Like, what even is it? And then you can say, like, how did you get into it? And you can maybe tie those in together, because maybe you can't describe one without the other.
Yeah.
But what's your story, and what even is it? Like, working on guitars. Like, I mean, I know what it is, but some of our listeners might not. How would you describe that?
Well, just like any other product we have, whether it's bicycles or cars, there's always someone who needs to fix it. So I was a touring musician
Definitely.
before.
Sure.
And I was also too young to go hang out in the venues after touring, so I would get left alone a lot. So we had a ton of broken gear, and we were in weird places like Erie, Pennsylvania, where nothing was open. So I would just hang out in the motel and start fixing instruments. And that's where, I'd get like Yoo-hoo glue and try and fix stuff from like a dollar store. And a lot of the times it didn't go well, but that's kind of where my first tinkering started happening, is boredom on tour. And then I started getting better in, with electronics. My grandpa bought me a little soldering iron I could take with me.
Nice.
And I didn't even think about it as a career until I was about 16. I started touring when I was 14.
Okay.
I went to Lee Strasberg Theater Academy in New York. I'm from Vancouver,
Cool.
Canada.
Canada.
And Canada. Yeah, from Vancouver, Canada. And I was kind of like the poor kid they picked. And there was like, 13,000 applicants. And they're like, yes, this little Hispanic Canadian from East Vancouver, she can come, I guess. Because they only picked 12. And I was the 13th pick.
Okay.
They made it very apparent that I was the pity choice. But hey, it made their school look real good. So I thought, I was a very shy kid. I sat in my room and played violin all day. And that's how I got really good at music.
Sure.
So
Okay.
I thought going to acting school would kind of help me. And it did. It, allowed me to create a character that I could be on stage that was separate from myself, and helped a lot with touring. But walking home from school every day, there was a little violin maker, and we didn't speak the same language, but I ended up just hanging out after school almost every day. Yeah.
That's
and that was
cool.
kind of,
Like in New York?
In New York, it was this little
What
hole in the
language do
wall
you
shop.
speak?
Well, I thought it was Yiddish. I'm not sure.
Oh, cool.
And his wife spoke some English. And so there was like if she was in on, I think it was like Wednesdays, she would come in and help him clean the shop and things. I would just hang out, and they were kind of like my family. Because my family wasn't with me. So slowly we'd get to restring guitars and, restring violins and things.
Yeah.
And I get to play all the violins, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool job. Like, I went to the acting school, but I didn't really love it. It was something that I thought I had to do. Whereas like this was just something really neat. So when it was time, the semester was over and it was time to go back home, he slid a little piece of paper across the desk and pointed at the Chicago Violin Making School. And it was a little too much for me. So I wasn't able to go. However, there was a guitar building school on Vancouver Island. It's now closed.
Okay. Bummer.
But yeah, when I was a senior in high school, I went to that school when I was 18. So I waited a little bit, and then I started building guitars, though. As soon as I got home, I used my mom's kitchen countertop, and I made acoustic instruments. I think there's still a rosette hole on her teak dining room table. So that's how I got into it. And even then, I never thought as of luthiery as a career. I thought it was something that went with my job as a musician. If I was on tour, I could actually fix something now. I could fix my own tools. It costs, at that time it was $80 for a setup. That was a lot of money. I could do it myself. I could do it for my bandmates. It was always just something to enhance my skills as a musician. And then the music industry, it's always kind of rough. And I was in between record deals at this one point. And money was tight. So I got a job at a clarinet factory. Yeah. So money was tight and I got a job at a clarinet factory. And unfortunately, 9 months into that job, I got really, really sick and I didn't know why. And apparently the wood that we were using that I had on a lathe, even though we had like dust masks, it was treated with formaldehyde and they weren't getting it legally. So I got a lung disease and I lost my voice. So that was really, really not a great situation because my whole life changed.
Right. I saw a TikTok where you said that you were a singer and then you couldn't sing for a while.
Yeah. And I was about to get a really big contract in music. And I just got this job to supplement the in-between time. So that really sucked. My whole life just kind of fell apart. Everything I'd worked for. So anyways, everything I had worked for just completely dissipated in my hands. And I had to start over, essentially. Yeah, so it was a totally terrifying time because first of all, was very sick. Nobody knew why. I got pulled out of my job. WorkSafe was involved, which is kind of our workers' protection in Canada.
Sure.
And I just remember being in the hospital and going, what the heck am I going to do? Like, there was a big grieving stage of what I had my whole life planned ahead and ticked off all the boxes to get that one goal. And it was within reach. Plan. Yep. And just gone. So during that time, there was the Larrivee factory was closing down in Vancouver. And I'd done some work for them occasionally. And so there was this big need for guitar techs because the Larrivee factory wasn't there anymore. That's kind of where everybody had their warranty repairs. And there's a couple luthiers in Vancouver, but not many that know all the aspects of guitar building and repair. When I was at Sadowski, this was before the whole clarinet factory thing happened and I lost my ability to sing. I did fretwork for, I think it was 9 months. I worked there for almost 2 years. And for 9 months, I just did fretwork. So that's why I can do it real fast.
Yeah.
And when the Larrivee closed down and there weren't people to do acoustic fret dresses and warranty repairs, all of the stores in our area were like, we need someone to do this. I was able to take on contracts with each of the different stores.
Okay. Wow.
And do their fretwork, just their fretwork.
Okay. Yeah.
So that kind of kept me afloat while I was in my recovery phase because I couldn't do full on woodworking.
Yeah, and that can be a good paying job, a fret level or refret or whatever. You can, if you can turn those around, that's a good paying gig.
And that's the thing. I would have 3 or 4 stores drop off their stuff to me, and I could get a full refret done in 30 minutes. And if I could get 3 or 4 of those a day, I was great considering what I was charging for them.
Yeah, sure.
So, and that's kind of how I started the repair side of my business. It was literally just to pay for my life while I was going through recovery of this lung disease.
Wow. Yeah. And you mentioned, the wood dust from that stuff, the wood stuff you were turning, and that's, I'm sure, something that you are really cautious about in your current wood shop. Some of the woods, especially some of those exotic hardwoods, the dust from those are just so noxious. I saw on a talk one of your TikToks, you were working with Wenge, and I think I mentioned on there that that stuff. Whenever I've worked with Wenge, I just break out in like a rash, like everywhere, and hives or whatever. And it's different from person to person, but you got to be super careful with all that dust, and man, that's just so crazy that you end up losing your voice all over it. That's so rough, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things like
horrible.
Coco Bolo. Like if anyone at my shop uses it and I walk through the door, I immediately have to leave and just not go into the shop for a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
So it's a rule that people can only use Coco Bolo when I'm on vacation, which we rarely do at our shop. And also I never take vacations, so that's also a joke.
Wait. Yeah, and a lot of places, I think Warmoth said they were stopped using it or something like that, or a lot of places have stopped using it just because of the dust for it is so noxious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it wasn't just the wood too; it was like metal shavings and stuff. But
oh sure, yeah. And of course,
Anyways.
formaldehyde. I mean, that's not the same thing as noxious Wenge dust. You know, that's formaldehyde. That's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great story. So, being a guitar builder, what are some misconceptions that you've come across in your time doing this?
That is easy and a cool job. Oh my goodness. We get so many people. I think I have like 50.
It's not cool.
No,
it seems so cool.
It's such a, I mean, you really have to like what you're doing and accept that it is a very difficult career to make money out of.
Sure.
If you want to be a guitar builder, that's just something you have, everybody thinks that they're going to get a job and like they're going to be an apprentice, then start their own company. Then rock stars are going to walk through the door and, they're side stage at a rock concert and people are shredding their instruments. And then suddenly there's like a documentary about their life or something. They always think that that's the story. Every single person, probably not everyone, but a lot of these people that talk to me, they're like, oh my goodness, this is like, you must have so much fun. I'm like, I cry probably 5 days out of the week about something to do with my job. The router pulls something and flings a neck across the wall. Things. It's you really have to be passionate about it and understand that mistakes are made every single day. That, when you're first starting out, the end of the month is going to be the toughest time. Sometimes you won't have enough to pay for your commercial rent. But it does, the more you stick it out, it does get easier. It's just those first 5 years of being an instrument builder. Yeah. If you're not doing repairs to supplement it, is really difficult. Like everybody at a house party wants to say they're a luthier.
What are some of the biggest challenges you faced, or maybe have you had any like bad experiences in this time that you've been doing this?
Sorry, this is my cat photo bombing.
So who is this? Say hi.
This is Mortimer. Yeah.
Hi, Mortimer.
So Morty, he's a big lover boy. He likes to hang out on my shoulder a lot of the time. The hardest things, for me, it's always my health. I still am working in dust and a spray booth. So I've got to constantly keep that. I know that I don't get to take a break a lot of the times because my breaks are, for surgery or medical appointments or something like that. And it's a very physical job. But it's also a lot of relationship building. My clients are a lot of my friends now. So there's hundreds of people who own my instruments around the world. And I'm constantly checking in on them and they check in on me. If I don't reply, they just want to know how I'm doing because they know the situation. So it's one of those things that it's hard when so many people have like an emotional attachment to you. And then you're sick for a little bit and you're like, oh, I don't want to answer this email, but I kind of have to answer this email. And then you've got 200 emails and you're like, I feel guilty for being sick. I feel guilty for being away. But I'm lucky that a lot of people understand my circumstances. So yeah, but it is difficult to balance for sure.
Yeah. So you said that, that the misconception is that people think it's cool and it's maybe not as cool as people think it is. But you said you do it because you're passionate about it. So what about this job fills your bucket? So why even do it? What fills your bucket about this job?
Well, for me, I like building my own community, and it's allowed me to do that. I don't like having a boss. It's really hard for me to say no to people. So if I ever have a job, I'm constantly overextending what I'm able to do. And in this situation, I can have like, no, I'm not working this day. No, this is not happening. I make my own schedule. And I also love teaching. Like I teach guitar building classes.
Right.
Because I like
those look fun.
People and I like connecting. And when you're doing a guitar building program for a week with someone or 2 weeks with someone, they get to do what they've been wanting to do for years. And it's kind of a bucket list item. And then I also get to hang out with someone who has the same interests as me. Really, I'm just like, basically it's interviews for being my friends. Like a lot of the people that I've done my classes, I've just kept in contact with. But yeah, it's like I'm curating this really cool community. I think something with guitar building that is really apparent is a lot of the old guard don't like sharing their secrets. And, but secrets they're not secrets anymore. They're widely available. And for me, like you couldn't Google how to build a guitar. You couldn't, you had the Melvin Hiscock book about electric guitar building and one about classical guitar building. And that was it. So I want people to do this. It's really fun. And sanding is, if you like it, it's very meditative. And a lot of people don't get out of this kind of crazy world with LCD and LED screens and back to the basics of just like carving a neck, you know? So it's like this really cool, like my job is very old world, but in a very, very modern world. And to share that with someone who, you know, some of these schools don't even have woodworking programs anymore. So I get a lot of kids in the summer whose parents just want them to learn a skill. And, you know, I'll get an email like 6 months later of like, hey, Matt built a shelf because he knows how to use this now. And I think that's kind of thing. It's like skill building is what I like to teach people. They don't have to have luthiery as a career, but it's like you have this goal at the beginning of the week. You do all these tiny little steps, and at the end you walk away with something that you did yourself. I don't think a lot of people get to experience little wins like that. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I love teaching and connecting.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned that, you know, for a long time, you know, there was basically one way to learn luthiery, and that was to go and apprentice with somebody. You know, you could go and buy a book, and there was, you know, like 2 or 3 good books and like 7 or 8 pretty bad books that you could buy those books and kind of compile everything and then make 7 or 8, you know, bad guitars before you figured out something that would work, you know. And then, you know, the internet came around, or they had, you know, Dan Erlewine put out his videos, which was basically the very first thing, you know, that, you know, something he shot, you know, by himself. It was like the very first thing that was like, hey, this could be a different way to teach people, you know. And now we have the internet. But at the same time, with all that we have on YouTube, right? And I always say, like, this is the golden age of knowledge. You can literally find and learn how to do anything. But at the same time, I feel like we're losing that personal connection a little bit.
Absolutely.
Where, like, I love that you can learn any instrument, right? You know, if you want to learn guitar, it's the golden age, right? But at the same time, like when my wife wanted to learn ukulele, like I went and you know, paid for her to have lessons from my friend Larry, who's like the best teacher I ever know. I want to get him on the podcast. Because there's something about having that feedback from a person, right? You can go and learn from a YouTube video, but when you have a person that's sitting there going, why don't you move your finger? Or like, hey, let's learn this song. Or, you know, someone that's there and also that that like impending doom of like, I have lessons on Thursday and I haven't practiced. My teacher is going to be staring at me going, you haven't practiced. It's the same thing with, a trade like this, luthier, you have that person staring at you in the face every day when hey, that's not the right way to do it. Let's try it this way. This is what I've done. You can basically the stuff I've learned, I basically learned from YouTube. I've done it the hard way. But having someone that's there with you, it's such a valuable thing that we're kind of in the process of losing a little bit.
For sure.
It's a shame because we need to keep it.
One thing I think that with like curated content like that is that very rarely do you get to see people's mistakes. And
totally,
that's how you learn, when we teach classes, I've made thousands of mistakes and someone will be like, hey, what if we did it this way instead of this way? And I'm like, I'll tell you why, because I almost lost my hand this one time. So it's one of those things where, we don't really have that peer-to-peer, like, yeah, you could do that, but this happened when I did it. It's like, I've had friends who tried to do online stuff. They didn't know which way that they go on the router to, flush cut something. And there's a hole in their wall now, So yeah, I think that's a big thing is being able to talk about making mistakes and then,
or learning, or with woodworking, learning what mistakes are fixable, because in woodworking, there's so many things that you can fix, right? Hey, you got some chip out. Well, you can glue in a thing and fix it out. Or learning when, oh, nope, that's scrap. There's no saving that. That's a great discussion. Thank you so much. What would you consider the Meredith Coloma, like, signature move, or maybe like a veteran move, either in your shop or in your work, or maybe in your guitars?
In my guitars? Or my shop, my move. I don't know. I don't really have like a signature move.
Like is badassery a signature move?
I guess so. I don't know. Like, I think it's funny because like I have a shop full of these like 6-foot Vikings, and they all work for me, and they'll scroll through my comments on social media because I have to delete like 100, a day. And they'll have their own social media accounts with all positive, reinforcement of other dudes being like, awesome job. And then they'll be like, a woman with a tool. But it's just like these people have learned from me, they work from my shop. But I don't know. I like to clap back a lot. I think for me, my badassery comes from supporting other people in a positive way. Like, I don't care if you want to do guitar building for a living or if you want to do something else. But if someone asks me for a little bit of my time, I'm going to give it to them because they're curious about building and they might not have someone in their town or whatever that can tell them where to start. I can talk a lot. So if someone messages me saying, hey, I don't know how to do this truss rod thing, I'll film a video, or I'll get, Henry or Will to be like, can you explain this, how you would do it? I explain how I do it. Henry might have a different way. I never feel like sharing knowledge creates competition for me. I think that the more people that do something, the more it's less of a niche thing. And it benefits me in some way.
Meredith, do you have something that you might consider like a guilty pleasure, as whether it's either in your building of the guitars or in your shop or just in your day-to-day life, or maybe with making TikToks or something, just something that if someone caught you doing it, they would give you a hard time, or I don't know. It's just something that you would consider a guilty pleasure.
Okay, so it's not really a guilty pleasure, but it's just something that we'll do. Like, we'll have to make a guitar as a demo. And I'm like all about the customer guitars, and I'm like sending pictures to my customers and everything. but they'll be like, we need this demo for, 4 weeks. And I'm like, 4 weeks, sweet. There's a lot of guitars I can build in that time. And then it will be the night before we have to ship this guitar out to someone for some media thing. And I start building it then. Yep. I do that all the time. So it's like I will have not slept and I'll be at the shop and like sipping a coffee at 8 a.m. and Henry will walk in and be like, oh, did you just start that one last night? I'm like, yeah, because I didn't want you guys to have to stay overtime. But yeah.
You can crank one out in one day like that?
If I have to, I can build an electric guitar in, I think Henry timed me, it was 7.5 hours. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What are you using for finish that you can turn one out so fast?
UV cure, polyurethane.
Oh, UV cure. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, UV cure, I guess, could do that.
You can sand in 20 minutes. Cool. Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't do that for customer guitars because I like sending videos to my customers of like, hey, I'm carving a neck now. This is what I've done. But when it's media stuff, I take it less serious, which I probably shouldn't, but that's, I don't know. I feel like that part of the business is my most hated part. I'm like, I'm going to try and be a real business person when I'm just a child in a shop with sharp, pointy tools.
That's cool. Do you have, how long you been Meredith Coloma Guitars making instruments and stuff? How long is that? I kind of missed that part.
Coloma Guitars has been since 2013. Yeah, so it's 10 years. Okay, so this last January.
Yeah, 10 years. Okay, so in 10 years, what do you have something that you might consider your favorite moment or maybe your best moment? Something you look back and just think like, man, that was like so good. Like that was like maybe a crowning achievement or something like that.
I think for me, like I won a top 30 under 30 award in Vancouver.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was really cool because it's not something that I ever thought that would be like warranted for what I do, but my business does really well. And for me, I've never considered like all those people go to the top university. My friend that I met in that top 30 thing, she went to Harvard. She now has a tech company. They're real fancy people. And I didn't even graduate high school. So actually I graduated high school last year because I did a photography class for those last like 2 credits or something. And It's like, I was touring. That was my job. I was making money. I chose that path and it all kind of snowballed into this now. But to be considered, an award-winning business person, that first 30 under 30 award was like, for me, a really like my crowning achievement, I think. I've won several awards since then, but it's less meaningful because I'm in the business world and people consider me, I don't know, I guess a businesswoman.
I guess. Fine, I guess. A businesswoman. Whatever.
Yeah.
Today's episode of the N+1 podcast is brought to you by, I don't know, I don't have real sponsors still. So I'm going to make one up, and today we're going to say live music. Yes, I'm a musician myself, and live music, man, it's just the best. My wife and I are planning to see a concert this weekend with one of our favorite artists, and I'm very excited. Support the arts, support live music. We have tickets to go see John C. Brown in February in My Fair Lady in San Jose. Support the arts, people. Arts survive through the passion of the people that do them. Live music, these people aren't doing it for the fame or the glory. They're doing it from the passion. And it's just a good time, So go see some live music. Go see a play or some theater. Go check out our art display. We have an amazing art studio downtown that always showcases local art. We always love to go in there and check it out. There's so many local artisans downtown in Sonora that showcase their art there. Go check out some local art or some live music or a theater show or something. Anyway, so this week for your challenge, I'm not going to challenge you to like or share or subscribe, although I do want you to do those things, or even to share this podcast with a friend, even though I want you to do that. Instead, you, wily viewer and listener, I'm going to give you a different challenge. I want you to casually bring up something that you heard in one of these shows with another person in casual conversation. Maybe you'll say to a friend, I heard that you can prospect for gold using moss. That's a good one. Or you can talk about the theater stage games. You can say, hey, I heard that stage right, it's the actor's right, not the audience's right. That's something we learned when we talked to Kyla. Or maybe you can say something like, oh yeah, iPhones, they have all these hidden settings on the camera function. And then if it comes up, if they say, man, that's interesting, you say, yeah, I learned that on the N+1 podcast. So that's my challenge for you this week, is to mention something to a random person in your life that you have learned or that you've heard us discuss on the N+1 podcast. And then, you could maybe mention that you heard it on the N+1 podcast. That's your challenge this week, guys. Anyway, I'll get you back to the show. Catch you next time. Okay, so if someone is sitting there and they said, I've been tinkering, I built some parts kits, and I just can't stop. I can't get it out of my mind. I really want to go into making guitars. It's all I can think about. It's all I want to do. I want to make guitars for a living. And they talk like that all the time. I want to make guitars for a living.
For a living.
Just kidding. For a living. What advice would you give to that person?
Start with kits. Get the cheapest kits you can get, and just put them together and understand the alignment of an instrument. So many people just want to go get, a solid ebony body and something crazy like a zircode top with swamp ash body. And I feel like you should start by just assembling kits and understanding that the center line has a lot to do with the overall guitar build. And once you know about that, then find someone who can either help you and find a community of people. My mom always said to me, go to the source. So if I wanted to learn something, like I had built 4 or 5 guitars and I didn't like them as a musician, I was like, these are unplayable. They're pretty to look at, but they're unplayable. Mm-hmm. So I emailed Roger Sadowski, because when I was touring, everybody played a Sadowski bass. They didn't play a Fender P or jazz bass. They played a Sadowski. If we were at a studio or on a massive tour, always a Sadowski. Mm-hmm. So I emailed him. I was like, hey, I got these guitars. I don't get it. Mm-hmm. They're not good. Everybody likes your basses. Why? So he actually emailed me back and was like, if you're ever in New York, let me see what you've done and I'll tell you. So I booked a flight that day, and 8 a.m. the next morning, I was at the Sadowski workshop. So I flew from Vancouver to New York, and he said, I'll tell you why. Your fretwork isn't very good. You've built these guitars, but you can't set up your guitar properly because your frets suck. So I was like, okay. And then I got an apprenticeship from that. I started the next day, and wow. That's why I did frets, and I didn't complain. I just did them. And he said nobody really lasted longer than like 2 to 3 weeks at the fret station, but I just obsessed about it. Every day I was cranking those things out. So I got really good at the thing that I was really, really bad at. So just find someone who builds instruments that you want to make, and they might not tell you all their secrets, but they'll give you some gems or tell you maybe someone else who can help you out or take a class with. Go to the source.
Nice. Awesome. That's great advice. Okay. So we have a section on this show that's called Let's Get Into It. Okay. And I don't know if you looked at the, questions ahead of time.
I briefly
and if you had any. So I have a section called Let's Get Into It, where we bring the guests on, and if there's something we can do together that is the topic, like when we had Courtney Pong on, it was we were talked about improv. We did a 5-minute improv game, something like that. Okay. And so I was wondering if you had thoughts of something we could do in just a couple minutes.
I don't know.
Okay, because if you don't, I have an idea.
Okay, go for it.
Because I have a question for you. Okay. So I'm actually going to scoot the camera back so you get a little bit wider view.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a Blue Ridge. Okay. It's an import guitar.
Okay.
Okay, Blue Ridge. It's an import. It's kind of a slope shoulder copy. Okay. And I got this from a pawn shop when I was visiting my dad in Carson. Right. And I love Blue Ridge guitars. They're kind of like foreign made, but solid wood kind of, and they're, I've had a couple of them and they're usually pretty good. And this was like the typical, like Nevada, like pawn shop guitar, which was completely unplayable. And I got it for a steal. Right. So I took it home and cleaned it up, fixed the fret sprout, did a fret level, made a new bone nut, new bone saddle, did a full setup. And it's pretty good. Did a compensated. This was my first compensated saddle I made, and the intonation's pretty good on the 12th fret. The action's pretty good. It's about as low as I can take it without doing a neck reset, which is above my pay grade. I don't do those. I'm just a setup technician. But I've noticed something, which is that when I have it perfectly in tune, and I believe it still is. Okay, so when I have it perfectly in tune, okay, the B string, especially on the low notes, will play sharp. So if I play a B, it's in tune, and then I play a D note, it's sharp. So I don't know if you can hear it, but if you see on my tuner there, okay, so and then if I play the 12th fret is okay. Yeah, and so there's that, and then it's fine. It's just a hair sharp on the 12th fret, and I can't really compensate it much more. I could try, but and so it's like that for a couple frets, and then it kind of gets better again. But I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on that, on what could be causing that.
I mean,
how to fix it? Maybe
a lot of the time, the saddle isn't placed right on those factory guitars that are made very, very quickly. Okay. Anything can go wrong. If we were on tour, we would file back from the nut on those specific ones so that the first 3 frets will try and be a little more flat. But again, I don't know if you know the Buzz Phaeton tuning system. They file both from the nut
fiddle with that.
And depending on the sense value, whether it's sharp or flat, they'll do from the nut, like they'll take the mass off the nut instead of the 12th fret, or sorry, the saddle. And sometimes it's, the nut is too high, and when you press down, it's sharp. But
yeah, so my action is pretty good. Yeah. Like I mean, it's just a couple thou because I cut the nut myself. Yeah. And it's pretty low. I mean, just a couple thou. Yeah.
It could be so many things, but that's very interesting. Yeah. I find that a lot of like Gibson 335s that I've worked on have that issue on the G and the B. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's really guitar to guitar. But that's always annoying when you're like playing a chord and there's that one weird sound.
Yeah, I found that if I take that one string and I just like tune it just a little flat, just a little bit, then I like not even like if I tune that D string, if I play that B string on the D note and tune that, it's not good enough. But if I just kind of split the difference, then it's basically fine. But it's just so weird. I kept like, even as I was setting it up, I would tune it up, and I'm like, I'm sure by the time I'm done, it'll be fine. But even when I was done, I was like, and it's kind of a heartbreaker because it's actually a really good sounding guitar. Nice big full body. It's got like rosewood back and sides and stuff, and it's kind of a really pretty guitar. I think I paid like $220 for it, and I put some good tuners on it and stuff. Yeah. But anyway,
those things are always interesting. There was a certain brand of guitar that we kept getting in, and those first 2 notes were like really, really off. Again, we could intonate it from the 12th fret pretty close, And then we found out that the first fret on all those guitars, I think we had like 3 or 4, was too short. And it was the same length as the second fret. And so none of, like, it was really weird. And it just,
That's weird.
like
That's
really,
weird.
really small. But when we laminated a piece on the nut and had it come back, all the problems went away. It was the strangest thing. But yeah, it blew my mind that could come out of the factory and someone paid like $4,000 or $5,000 for a guitar like that. And then we had 3.
Wow, that's so weird. Okay, well, we're going to get towards the end here. So the last question, the big question is the name of the show.
Yeah.
N+1 podcast for Meredith Coloma. What is N+1? What is next? I know you have a big thing on the horizon. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it yet.
I can't.
But you have you said can or cannot?
I cannot, not till now.
Okay. You have a big secret coming up that you can't talk about. But what's coming up for Meredith Coloma and Coloma Guitars?
Oh my goodness. For me, we got a 23 plus acre property on Gabriola Island.
Cool.
The secret you're talking about is I'm moving to LA to work for a company. We've just had it's been delayed for about 6 months because we've had some visa issues. Coloma Guitars will be stalled for a little bit. And then because I wanted to expand to make a full school, like a trade school. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So my business partner, Will, he wanted to move out of the city. We wanted somewhere close to downtown Vancouver, but somewhere where we had access to our own wood source. So we got huge acreage on Gabriola. We're going to make that kind of a guitar building resort, and also will be the HQ of Coloma Guitars. So there's alder, walnut, spruce, cedar, fir.
Whoa.
All of that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It all comes from there. And a lot of there's log stacked right there that we'll have to mill, mostly alder. But
that's cool.
Yeah,
man.
like the old owners were like, well, that's just stuff that fell from a storm and we have to chop it up, but we'll remove that. And we're like, no, like that's not garbage.
No.
Yeah.
No touchy.
Yeah, exactly. So we're trying to do a more sustainable way rather than ordering wood from somewhere. We come from BC. It's a $5-6 billion industry here that we export to Asia and the US for guitar manufacturers. So we may as well expand Coloma Guitars in where the cost of living is a little lower than downtown Vancouver, have the island life, and also continue teaching. So 2025 is when we want our trade school to be open, but it is fully dependent on licensing. So once the licenses are good and we've got our shops all built out, it's going to be a pretty cool place.
Yeah. So I was wondering with the thing we can't talk about, that doesn't mean the end of Coloma Guitars. I was worried about that.
No, I was with the company before that I was doing R&D for, and I was supposed to be a custom builder for them as well. But there was a non-compete, and they weren't offering enough for me to say no to my own brand. And I think a lot of people start guitar building to potentially get this one job. But it wasn't worth it to me, not unless they had put me in like a director role where the salary was higher than my own business. So I quit that job and I just was kind of like, hey, I've got a couple years until my thing's going. Does anybody want to hire me? And then I had like 15 offers. So I took the highest one, and I'm really excited because I like their guitars and they're really cool people. And I won't be the only woman working there, which I think for a lot of factories is super weird. If I'm working in engineering or R&D, there are no other women around ever. So
that's
it
weird.
just shows a lot about a company, So yeah, I'm really excited to move there. And then they also had no pressure. They're just like, you can continue doing your own thing, but there's not much I can do until we're fully moved to the island and operating there, which is not a right now type of thing. So we'll be on hiatus for a little bit, but not too long.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. go ahead and how can people find out find you? How can people find out about Coloma Guitars? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm Coloma Guitars. On TikTok, I'm Coloma.guitars. And then on the interwebs, I am www.colomaguitars.com.
Awesome. We'll put links in the show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, we'll put links in the show notes there as well. Sure. But before we go, I'm going to ask you the 2 silly questions I ask to all my guests.
Hit me.
In a short sentence, or maybe 2, I want you to say a sentence and casually drop the name of the most famous person you've ever met. I love this one.
This one time when I was an apprentice, Keith Richards wanted my guitar.
What?
Yeah.
That's pretty good,
yeah,
man.
So our serial
awesome.
numbers are 1 guitar different.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But I have a lot.
Like, he wanted a guitar that you made, or like one that you were just trying out? Or
so I made a guitar.
Tell us more about the story.
I made a guitar, and it was in the showroom. I was an apprentice. I was an apprentice for like a lot of brands. So my guitar was in the showroom. This really short dude came out and was like, "Who made this guitar?" And I was at the very, very end of the hallway. Everybody poked their heads out and looked at me in my apprentice corner. And the boss said, "Meredith." So I walked down the hall thinking, uh-oh, what did I do?
You were busted.
Someone was going to say, setup was really bad. I was like, I was probably going to
whatever it is.
Yeah. And I sit down, and of course I know who this person is. Yeah. And he's like, "Hey, I want one like this." I was like, "Okay." Also, we're the same height. So that was cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. What a great story. That's cool. Okay. And last question, and we will get you out of here. Thank you so much for your time. What is, and this might be different for you because you're from Canada. Mm-hmm. What is, in your opinion, the greatest all-time cartoon theme song?
Okay. Darkwing Duck, I think, has a really...
Let's get dangerous.
Yes. But then I also get
when there's trouble, you call DW.
Yeah, but I also like the X-Men. Was it the 80s cartoon?
It's still 90s. Yeah, still 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that one.
We've had a couple X-Men. Yeah, it's a good one. I don't know if this might be the first Darkwing. Do we have another Darkwing Duck? This might be the second Darkwing Duck.
I do.
But
I do like.
That's a good one. I was a huge fan of Darkwing Duck. When I was a kid, there was the block of the cartoons when you got home from school, and there was the ones that I liked and the ones that my sister liked, but I really liked Darkwing Duck. My sister liked DuckTales, and I was like, "Well, here, I'll tell you what, we'll take turns choosing. You go first." And there was nothing else on, so she would choose DuckTales, and that way I always got to choose Darkwing Duck, and I would never miss it. It was diabolical, I tell you.
I loved Darkwing Duck and Tailspin. That's also a good show.
Tailspin was good, yeah. And Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
There's a good block there for a while.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, well, Meredith, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great. I'm so thrilled to have you on. I'm a huge fan of your work. Basically, every design decision you make, it's just like a 10 out of 10. Every time I'm just like, how do you constantly do it? Like when you do colors, I love your colors. When you do naturals, I love your naturals. Your flame, where do I find $1,700? It'd be amazing. And the other thing I got to say, your prices are, some people complain about your prices, and I always defend them. Like, you have extremely reasonable prices for domestically made. You're in Canada, but not import made instruments. I think they're very reasonable for just fire instruments. You would just make everything you post. I'm just like,
thank you.
Yes. Can I sell one of my kids? I got too many kids anyway.
Trade. So. I'll take a kid for a guitar.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
There's the cat again.
There's Morty stealing the show.
Right. Morty.
Say bye.
All right, Mort. Okay, well, thanks for coming on, and wish you good luck in all your future endeavors.
Yeah.
And we want to hear about it when the thing that we're not allowed to talk about happens.
Yeah. I'm going to.
Anyway, until then.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I'm going to party in LA, and then I'll be excited to come back to Canada after. That's for sure.
Nice. Well, until then, we're going to say have a good time, build guitars, and everyone don't be a jerk.